Private data is no better protected from secret services in the UK than in the US, experts say. Nevertheless, the EU will not report any concerns. Saving data on foreign servers is part of the business model of many European companies. There is no legal basis for this. On the contrary, the agreements with the USA, which were supposed to create legal certainty, have failed in court, namely the ECJ. German companies are threatened with fines running into the millions. Another disaster could be added to this. Since Great Britain is no longer in the EU, there is no longer a legal basis for data exchange via the English Channel so far. Temporary solutions have been in place. So here too, there could be penalties for a large number of companies. Almost every large company, but also medium-sized companies and startups in Germany and Europe, exchange data with locations on the island, said Rebecca Weiss from the digital association Bitkom to the German newspaper Handelsblatt. In order to end the period of interim solutions, the EU Commission and the UK want to certify the highest data protection standards in the coming days and thus enable data exchange without restrictions. So far, the EU has granted the status to 12 countries worldwide. The USA lost it in a ruling by the European Court of Justice, the ECJ, because they did not want to protect user data from being accessed by their secret services. However, privacy advocates doubt that Britain has earned this status, because the British have never taken data protection as seriously as other Europeans, they say. The British GCHQ shares its findings very freely with the American NSA. The level of data protection set by the ECJ would be undermined, says the data protection officer of Baden-Württemberg, Stefan Brink. Even as a member state, Great Britain had a casual approach to sensitive data, says Liberal Democrat MEP Moritz Körner. And Estelle Massy of the human rights organization Access Now says, Britain has not changed its surveillance laws and is uncertain how London will change its data protection laws. Nonetheless, EU Commission Vice President Vera Jourova wants to attest that adequate data protection applies in the UK. A country's data protection laws and legal action options are examined for such a decision. There is no problem with the laws, they say. After all, the UK had implemented the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, before Brexit, like all EU countries. The possibilities to take legal action could now be worse, because at least users can no longer turn to the European Court of Justice if they see their rights violated in the UK. The situation is paradoxical. The EU can check the data security of its trading partners and issue conditions for data transfer accordingly. However, it does not check data security in its own member states because it is not responsible for this. As an EU country, the UK had to implement the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR. But there was no real test of how well data is protected from access by secret services there. Now that the UK is no longer an EU member, the EU Commission would have effective means of enforcing its level of data protection there. However, the pressure is enormous not to make use of it. While negotiating a trade deal, both sides tried not to deteriorate the mood any further. This is probably one of the reasons why the topic of data streams was left out. Ever since the diplomatic scandal surrounding the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland in January, Europeans have been very anxious to create a good mood. Even the data protectionists of the EU are unlikely to object. The data protection authorities are under great pressure to support the decision on the UK in order not to make the business of banks and insurance companies disproportionately difficult, says Data Protection Officer Brink. However, the European Court of Justice would not be so easily influenced. Twice they overturned the decision to exchange data with the USA. First safe harbor, then privacy shield. In order to protect users' data, the ECJ accepted that European companies would now have to fear high fines. The EU Commission presented the ECJ with a tricky situation. Because many European companies are dependent on data services from the USA, there are often no European alternatives yet. If the Commission takes the ruling seriously, it will have to press for law changes in the US or forbidding local companies to make important applications. Great Britain is also about a lot. The United Kingdom is one of the most important locations for processing data, for example in the areas of logistics, customer relationships and mobility, but also for cloud services, customer and maintenance services, says Bitkom. The ECJ can also review the decision on the UK if someone complains against it, and I think that will happen quite soon after this decision is really made. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.